The wind howled across the barren landscape of Selena's moon as Kira Navari pulled her tattered cloak tighter around herself and the small bundle in her arms. The young dragon hatchling, Emberfang, shivered against her chest despite the layers of cloth wrapped around his scaled body. His breathing came in shallow gasps, each one weaker than the last. "Hold on, little one," Kira whispered. "Not much farther now." She had been walking for nearly 2 days across the Ashen Plains, the vast gray desert that separated the Draconid settlement from the human mining colony. The journey was forbidden by clan law. Contact with humans was forbidden. Seeking their help was unthinkable. But watching Emberfang waste away had become unbearable. Kira paused at the top of a ridge and gazed down at the human settlement below. It was nothing like the simple stone dwellings of her people. Massive metal structures rose from the dusty ground. Strange vehicles moved between buildings. Lights blazed even though the sun still hung in the sky. The sight both terrified and amazed her. Emberfang made a weak chirping sound. His once bright golden eyes had dulled to a muddy yellow. When Kira had found him 3 months ago, a lone survivor in an abandoned nest after the great solar flare, his scales had gleamed like polished copper. Now they were pale and flaking. The same mysterious illness that had taken so many young dragons in her clan was stealing him away too. The clan healers had tried everything: special herbs, ancient prayers, ritual baths in volcanic springs. Nothing worked. One by one, the hatchlings died. The clan elders called it punishment from the ancestors for allowing humans to settle on their moon. They said nothing could be done. Kira refused to accept that. Rumors had reached the clan about the amazing healing powers of human medicine. Some said humans could cure any disease with their strange tools and potions. Some said they could even bring the dead back to life. Kira didn't believe such wild tales, but if there was even a small chance they could help Emberfang, she had to try. She took a deep breath and began the descent toward the human settlement. The rocky path was treacherous, and several times she nearly lost her footing. Emberfang barely moved now. Only the slight rise and fall of his chest told her he still lived. As she approached the edge of the settlement, strange dome-shaped objects floated down from the sky. They hovered around her, making soft humming sounds. Red lights blinked on their surfaces. Kira had never seen anything like them. She froze, uncertain whether to run or stand her ground. Before she could decide, ground rumbled. A large vehicle approached, kicking up dust clouds as it moved. It stopped about 20 feet from her. 3 humans emerged, wearing matching dark blue uniforms. 2 carried long stick-like objects she guessed were weapons. "Stop right there," one called out. The voice was firm, but not angry. "Identify yourself." Kira swallowed hard. She knew only a few words of the human language from old stories passed down through generations. "Help," she said, the unfamiliar word clumsy on her tongue. She pulled back the cloth covering Emberfang. "Please, help." The humans exchanged glances. The one who had spoken, a female with short brown hair, stepped forward cautiously. "Is that what I think it is?" she asked, not taking her eyes off the bundle in Kira's arms. "Dragon hatchling," another answered. "Looks sick." The female spoke into a small device attached to her wrist. "Security Team 3 to base. We have a situation at the south perimeter." Draconid female with what appears to be a juvenile dragon. Requesting instructions. A voice crackled from the device. "Bring her in. Alert medical and notify the foreman." The female nodded to Kira. "You can come with us. We'll take you to someone who might be able to help." Kira didn't understand all the words, but the gesture was clear enough. She followed the humans to their vehicle, climbing awkwardly into the back section when they motioned for her to do so. The inside was cold and smelled of strange chemicals. The vehicle started moving. With a jolt that made her gasp through the window, Kira watched the human settlement grow larger. Up close, the buildings were even more impressive, tall structures of metal and glass that gleamed in the sunlight. Humans moved everywhere, some on foot, others in smaller vehicles. None looked like the monsters from clan stories. They looked ordinary, just people going about their day. The vehicle stopped outside a large building with a red symbol above the entrance. The humans led her inside, through corridors filled with bright lights and strange equipment. Other humans stopped to stare as she passed. Some looked curious, others fearful. Kira kept her head high, though her heart pounded with fear. Emberfang had gone completely still in her arms. They entered a room filled with beds and machines that beeped and flashed. A human in white clothing approached. She had light skin and red hair pulled back from her face. "I'm Dr. Olivia Reeves," she said slowly, as if understanding Kira might not know their language well. She pointed to herself. "Doctor, healer." She gestured to Emberfang. "May I?" Kira hesitated, then carefully handed over her precious bundle. The doctor placed Emberfang on a flat surface and began examining him, using strange tools to look into his eyes, mouth, and listen to his chest. Kira watched anxiously, ready to snatch him back at the first sign of danger. A door slid open, and a new human entered. He was taller than the others, with broad shoulders and a face marked by time and weather. His hair was gray at the temples, and deep lines surrounded his eyes. Unlike the others, he wore no uniform, just plain work clothes covered in dust. "I'm Jack Harlow," he said in a deep, gravelly voice. "I run this place." He looked at Emberfang, then back at Kira. "You've come a long way for help." Before Kira could respond, Dr. Reeves spoke up. "Jack, look at these readings. The symptoms, the blood work. It's almost identical to what we saw in the biofuel processors last season." Jack leaned closer, examining a screen the doctor pointed to. His expression changed from stern to surprised. "Element poisoning? You think it's the same contaminant?" The markers match. Different physiology, but same reaction. She turned to Kira. "Your dragon, and I'm guessing others in your clan, they started getting sick after the solar flare, right?" Kira nodded, understanding enough to follow. "Many young ones die. Healers cannot help." Jack's face softened. "We can help. We've seen this before." He pointed to Emberfang. "We developed a treatment when our systems were affected. It might work for him, too." Kira felt hope rise in her chest for the first time in weeks. She watched as the doctor quickly prepared something in a small container, then carefully inserted a thin needle into Emberfang's foreleg. The hatchling didn't even flinch. "Now we wait," Dr. Reeves said. "It should take effect quickly if I'm right." Jack turned to Kira. "Your people, why didn't they come for help sooner?" Kira looked down. "Humans forbidden. Elders say humans are enemy." Jack nodded slowly. "And yet you came anyway." "For Emberfang," she said simply. "Worth any punishment." As they spoke, a small sound came from the table. Emberfang's eyes had opened clearer and brighter than they had been in days. He lifted his head weakly, and CHIRPED. Jack smiled. "Well, would you look at that?" He turned to Kira. "I think your journey was worth it after all." Kira felt tears of relief fill her eyes as Emberfang stretched his wings slightly. It was a small movement, but more than he had managed in days. Perhaps the human tales of miracle healing weren't so wild after all. What neither Kira nor Jack realized in that moment was that this small act of desperation would soon change the future of both their peoples forever. 3 days passed since Kira brought Emberfang to the human mining colony. The young dragon improved more each day. His eyes were bright again, His scales regained their copper shine. He ate eagerly from Kira's hand, chirping with delight at the special mix Dr. Reeves prepared for him. Kira stayed in a small room near the medical center. Jack had given orders that she and Emberfang were to be treated as guests. Many humans came to see them. Some looked afraid, others curious. A few brought gifts, strange human foods, or small toys for Emberfang. On the fourth morning, Jack came to visit. He brought a man Kira hadn't met before. "This is Sam Carter," Jack said. "He's our chief engineer. He might have figured out what caused your dragon to get sick." Sam smiled at Kira. He was younger than Jack, with dark skin and kind eyes. "I've been studying the samples Dr. Reeves took from Emberfang," he said, "and comparing them to our own records from after the solar flare." He placed a small device on the table. It lit up, showing a picture made of light in the air above it. Kira gasped. It looked like magic. "This is amazing," she whispered, reaching out to touch the floating image. Her hand passed right through it. Sam smiled. "It's just a hologram. A picture made of light." He pointed to the image, which showed colored dots and lines. "These are the mineral levels in Emberfang's blood. And these," the image changed, "are the mineral levels in your moon's soil, before and after the solar flare." Kira didn't understand the strange symbols, but she could see the patterns were different. The solar flare changed the chemical makeup of your moon's surface, Sam explained. It created toxic compounds that weren't there before. These toxins got into your food chain. They're especially harmful to young dragons because their bodies are still developing. Jack leaned forward. What Sam discovered is that the dragon's traditional diet used to contain minerals that naturally fought these toxins. But those minerals are now harder to find in your territory. Interestingly, Sam added, those same minerals are what we've been mining. They're in our waste piles. What we consider leftover rock might be exactly what your dragons need. Kira's eyes widened as she understood. You mean the sickness can be cured? All our young ones could be saved? Jack nodded. We have the treatment for those already sick, like Emberfang, and we have the minerals that could prevent others from getting sick. My people need to know this, Kira said. I must return to them. Jack's face grew serious. There's something else you should know. I've reported your situation to my superiors. Not everyone is happy about helping the Draconids. Some humans think we should mind our own business, Sam explained. They say it's not our problem if your dragons are dying. But Jack disagreed, Dr. Reeves said, entering the room. She carried Emberfang, who was now strong enough to perch on her arm. A young dragon chirped happily when he saw Kira. I did more than disagree, Jack said with a small smile. I told them we were helping, whether they liked it or not. This moon belongs to both our peoples. What affects you will eventually affect us. Emberfang jumped from Dr. Reeves to Kira, nuzzling against her neck. His scales were warm again, his body strong. Kira felt tears in her eyes. My clan believes humans are dangerous, that you came to steal our land. She stroked Emberfang's head. I was taught humans destroy everything they touch. Jack sighed. Some of us do, but not all. Many of us want to build, not destroy. He looked out the window at the mining colony. We came here for the minerals, yes, but most of us just want to make a decent living and live in peace. Sam nodded. When we first arrived, we tried to contact your people, to negotiate, but our messages were never answered. Kira wasn't surprised. The elders would have destroyed any human message without reading it. Will you help me return to my clan? She asked. To tell them what we've learned? Of course, Jack said. But it might not be safe for you. You broke your clan's laws by coming here. Kira straightened her back. I must try. Too many young ones will die if I don't. Later that day, Sam showed Kira around the mining colony. She marveled at the huge machines that dug into the moon's surface, the processing plants that separated valuable minerals from ordinary rock, the greenhouse domes where humans grew plants from Earth. "This is all so different from our ways," Kira said as they watched workers load processed ore into containers. "We take only what we need from the land. We believe humans take everything, leaving nothing behind." Sam pointed to a distant part of the complex. "See those large pools? That's our water recycling system. And those panels? They collect energy from the sun. We try to use resources wisely." He led her to a large building filled with strange devices. Men and women worked at glowing screens. "This is our research center," Sam explained. "We study this moon, the weather, the soil, the air. We want to understand it better." A woman approached them. She had short gray hair and a stern face. Her clothes were cleaner and finer than other humans Kira had seen. "So this is our visitor," she said, looking Kira up and down. Her voice was cold. "I'm Patricia Morgan, Regional Director. I've come from Earth to deal with this ... situation." Sam shifted uncomfortably. Director Morgan arrived on yesterday's shuttle. "She's Jack's boss." Patricia frowned at Emberfang, who was perched on Kira's shoulder. "I understand we're using company resources to treat this creature?" "His name is Emberfang," Kira said firmly. "And yes, your people saved his life." Patricia's mouth tightened. "That's not what this facility is for. We're here to mine minerals, not run a veterinary hospital for alien species." She turned to Sam. "The board is concerned about Jack's decisions. Very concerned." Sam started to reply, but a loud alarm cut him off. Red lights flashed throughout the building. "What's happening?" Kira asked, alarmed. Emberfang squawked and dug his claws into her shoulder. "Storm warning," Sam said, checking a device on his wrist. "A big one. We need to get to shelter." Outside, the sky had turned a strange greenish color. Wind whipped dust into swirling clouds. Workers ran toward buildings, securing equipment as they went. "Come with me," Sam said, taking Kira's arm. "We need to reach the main shelter." As they hurried across the open ground, Kira saw the storm front approaching a massive wall of dust and debris. Fear gripped her heart, not for herself, but for her clan. Their simple stone dwellings wouldn't stand against such fury. "My people?" she gasped. "They don't have shelters like yours. This storm will destroy our homes." Patricia had followed them outside. She overheard Kira's words. "That's not our concern," she said sharply. "Our responsibility is to company personnel." Sam looked torn. "We can't just—" "We follow protocol, Mr. Carter," Patricia snapped. "No unauthorized rescue missions." Jack appeared, running toward them, through the growing wind. "Everyone inside," he shouted. "Now!" As they reached the shelter entrance, Kira turned to look back at the distant mountains where her clan lived. The storm was moving fast. It would reach them soon. "Jack," she said, grabbing his arm. "My people, they're in danger." Jack looked at the approaching storm, then at Patricia's disapproving face. He seemed to make a decision. "Get inside," he told Kira. Then he turned to Sam. "Prep the heavy transport and gather the emergency team. We're going to need the excavation equipment." Patricia stepped forward. "Foreman Harlow, I forbid this. You will not risk company assets for, with all due respect." "Director," Jack cut her off, his voice firm. "There are lives at stake. I'll face the consequences later." He looked at Kira. "Tell me the fastest way to your settlement." The storm howled across the moon's surface like an angry beast. Jack gripped the controls of the heavy transport vehicle as it pushed through swirling dust and debris. Visibility was near zero. Only the advanced navigation system kept them on. Course toward the Draconid settlement. "We should turn back," shouted one of the crew members over the roar of the wind. "These conditions are too dangerous." Jack shook his head. "Not an option. There are lives at stake." Beside him, Kira sat with Emberfang clutched to her chest. Her face was tight with worry. "It's not much farther," she said. "Just past that ridge." The transport crested the hill, and the Draconid settlement came into view. Unlike the sturdy metal and concrete structures of the human colony, the dragon people lived in dwellings carved from stone and built with local timber. The storm was already tearing through the village. Roofs had been ripped away. Trees were bent double in the wind. There, Kira pointed to a large stone building in the center of the settlement. "That's the clan hall. Most will shelter there during storms." Jack guided the transport toward it. Behind them came 2 more vehicles carrying equipment and medical supplies. Sam Carter rode in the second transport with Dr. Reeves and an emergency medical team as they entered the village. Shapes moved through the storm, Draconids rushing toward the clan hall, some carrying children or helping the elderly. A few stopped to stare at the human vehicles, their expressions a mix of fear and confusion. "They're scared of us," Jack said. Kira nodded. "They have never seen humans this close before." She pointed to a spot near the clan hall. "Stop here." Jack parked the transport and activated its external lights to cut through the gloom. The rescue team climbed out, struggling against the wind. Sam led a group with tools and equipment. Dr. Reeves organized her medical team. A group of Draconids emerged from the clan hall. They were tall, with the same scaled skin as Kira, though. Their colors varied from deep red to burnished gold. The leader was an elderly female, with silver-gray scales and piercing yellow eyes. "Elder Lysithea," Kira said quietly to Jack. "Our clan leader." Lysithea raised her hand, and the Draconids behind her raised spears and bows. "Stop where you are, humans," she called out in accented but clear human language. "You are not welcome here." Jack raised his hands to show he was unarmed. "We've come to help. The storm is going to get worse. Some of your buildings are already damaged. We need no human help," Lysithea said coldly. Then her eyes fell on Kira and widened in shock. "Kara Navari, you dare return after defying clan law? And you bring humans to our sacred home?" Kira stepped forward, still holding Emberfang. "Elder, please listen. The humans saved Emberfang. They know what caused the sickness in our young ones. They can help us." Lysithea's eyes narrowed. "The sickness is punishment from our ancestors for allowing humans on our moon. And now you bring the very cause of our suffering to our doorstep?" She pointed a clawed finger at Kira. "You are banished from the clan. Forever." A crash interrupted them as a large section of the clan hall's roof collapsed. Screams came from inside. Without hesitation, Jack signaled to his team. "Sam, bring the support beams. Dr. Reeves, stand by for injuries." He turned to Lysithea. "You can banish Kira later. Right now, your people need help." Before the elder could respond, Jack and his team rushed toward the damaged building. Several Draconids were trapped under fallen beams and stone. Using their equipment, the humans quickly began clearing debris and setting up supports to prevent further collapse. Lysithea watched in stunned silence as the humans worked. More of the clan emerged from other buildings, drawn by the commotion. Many looked at the humans with fear, but others seemed curious or relieved. A young Draconid male approached Kira. "Is it true?" he asked quietly. "The humans can cure the sickness?" In his arms he held a small dragon hatchling, its scales dull and its breathing labored. Kira nodded. "This is Emberfang. 3 days ago, he was dying. Look at him now." The young dragon chirped vigorously, as if to prove her point. The male looked at his own suffering hatchling, then at Dr. Reeves, who was treating injured Draconids. "Can they Help Lazettalon too? Yes, Kira said firmly. But we need to act quickly. Inside the damaged clan hall, Jack and Sam worked side by side with several draconids to free those trapped under debris. Jack found himself lifting a heavy stone beam alongside a massive red-scaled draconid male. I am Rinner, the draconid said as they strained together. Why do you help us, human? We have shown you nothing but hatred. Jack grunted with effort as they moved the beam. Because it's the right thing to do. And because we share this moon, your problems will become our problems eventually. A cry went up as they freed an elderly draconid from the rubble. It was Elder Lysithea. She had been protecting two young ones with her own body. Though injured, her first concern was for the children. They are unharmed, Dr. Reeves said after checking them. But you have a broken leg and some cuts that need treatment. Lysithea tried to push her away. Do not touch me, human. Elder, Kira said, kneeling beside her. Please, let them help. Look around you. Throughout the clan hall, humans and draconids worked together. Sam's team had stabilized the building's structure. Dr. Reeves and her medics treated the injured. Outside, more human vehicles arrived with supplies to secure dwellings against the storm. Lysithea's eyes moved from scene to scene. Her expression changed from anger to confusion. Why? She finally asked. Why would you help us when we have shown you only hostility? Jack knelt beside her. Because that's what humans do at our best. We help each other, and we'd like to help you be neighbors rather than enemies. The elder was silent for a long moment. Then she nodded slightly. Treat my wounds, then, and tell me about this cure. For our young ones. While Dr. Reeves worked on Lysithea, more draconids came forward with sick hatchlings. Nearly a dozen young dragons showed the same symptoms as Emberfang had. Dr. Reeves and her team began administering the treatment to each one. Meanwhile, Sam showed some of the draconid craftsmen how to reinforce their buildings against the storm using techniques from the human colony. The storm continued to rage outside, but inside the clan hall, something new was taking shape. Cooperation. Kira found Jack as he helped distribute emergency supplies. Thank you, she said simply. You risked much to help my people. Jack smiled. Tiredly, the risk isn't over. Patricia Morgan will be waiting when we get back. I've probably lost my job over this. Why did you do it then? Jack looked around at the humans and draconids working together. Some things are more important than a job. Building bridges between our peoples could change everything for both of us. A commotion near the entrance drew their attention. Doctor. Reeves was shouting for Kira. They rushed over to find her bent over a young dragon hatchling. Its scales were turning from dull brown to a vibrant orange before their eyes. The treatment is working even faster than with Emberfang, Dr. Reeves said excitedly. I think it's because we caught it earlier in the progression. The hatchling's draconid parent wept with joy as the young dragon lifted its head and chirped strongly. Around them, other treated hatchlings were showing similar improvement. Elder Lysithea watched from where she sat with her splinted leg. Her stern face had softened slightly. Perhaps, she said quietly, we have been wrong about humans. As the night wore on, the storm finally began to ease. Damage was extensive throughout the settlement, but no lives had been lost thanks to the human rescue team. More importantly, every sick hatchling was responding well to treatment. In the early hours of the morning, Jack received a message on his communicator. His face grew serious as he read it. What is it? Kira asked. Patricia Morgan, Jack said. She's ordered all human personnel to return immediately. She's sending security to escort us back if necessary. He sighed. The company isn't happy about us using their resources this way. What will happen to you? Kira asked. Jack shrugged. I'll probably be replaced, sent back to Earth. And what will happen to our young ones then? to this new beginning between our peoples? Jack looked at her thoughtfully. That depends on what we do next. Morning came to Selena's moon. The storm had passed, leaving behind a changed landscape. Half the Draconid settlement lay in ruins. Trees were uprooted. Paths were blocked by debris. But amid the destruction, humans and Draconids worked side by side to clear rubble and rebuild. Jack stood with Sam and Dr. Reeves, watching the joint efforts with pride. Nearby, Kira helped a group of young Draconids feed their recovering hatchlings. Emberfang pranced around them, showing off his renewed strength. The medicine worked for all of them, Dr. Reeves said happily. 23 sick hatchlings, all responding to treatment. Sam nodded. And I've shown their builders how to mix our mineral compounds into their feed. It should prevent future cases. Good work, both of you, Jack said. But we have another problem. He checked his communicator. Patricia's sending security teams. They'll be here within the hour. Can't you reason with her? Sam asked. Jack shook his head. I've tried. She says we violated company policy and endangered valuable equipment. She wants us all back at base immediately. What about the Draconids? Dr. Reeves asked. They still need our help. That's not the company's concern, according to Patricia. Jack looked troubled. She's already contacted Earth headquarters. They're sending a replacement team for senior staff, including me. Elder. Lysithea approached them, leaning on a wooden staff. Her leg was set in a splint created by Dr. Reeves. Behind her came several clan leaders. Foreman Harlow, she said formally. The council has met. We wish to thank you and your people for your help during the storm. Jack bowed slightly. We're glad we could help, Elder. We also wish to discuss a more permanent arrangement between our peoples, Lysithea continued. One that would benefit both Draconids and humans. Jack glanced at his communicator. I wish we had time for that discussion, Elder, but my superior has ordered us to return to our colony immediately. Lysithea's eyes narrowed. You are leaving, after all this? Not by choice, Jack explained. The company I work for doesn't approve of what we've done here. They're sending people to replace me and my senior staff. The Elder was quiet for a moment. Then she said, So it is as I feared. Human promises are short-lived. That's not fair. Sam protested. Jack risked everything to help you. And now he abandons us when our homes lie in ruins, Lysithea said coldly. Kira stepped forward. Elder, that's not what's happening. Jack's people have rules, just as we do. He broke those rules to save us. Lysithea tapped her staff on the ground. Then perhaps we should speak to this leader who gives such heartless orders. As if in answer, the sound of approaching vehicles filled the air. 3 large transports appeared on the horizon, heading toward the settlement. That's them, Jack said grimly. Patricia's bringing a full security detail. The vehicles pulled up at the edge of the settlement. Patricia Morgan stepped out of the lead transport, flanked by security officers in dark uniforms. She surveyed the scene with clear disapproval. Foreman Harlow, she called. You and your staff are ordered to return to base immediately. These vehicles will take you back. Jack walked toward her, followed by Sam, Dr. Reeves, and several Draconids, including Kira and Elder Lysithea. Director Morgan, Jack said, we're in the middle of crucial relief efforts. The storm caused extensive damage. Patricia's face hardened. That is not our concern. You took company equipment and personnel on an unauthorized mission. The board is not pleased. People would have died without our help, Dr. Reeves argued. They are not our people, Doctor, Patricia snapped. Our responsibility is to our shareholders. Elder Lysithea stepped forward. I am Elder Lysithea, leader of the Crestfall clan. You stand on Draconid land. Patricia barely glanced at her. This Moon was unclaimed when we arrived. Our company has legal mining rights granted by the Earth Coalition. Legal by whose laws? Lysithea asked. Not ours. We have lived on Selinus for 1,000 years. Be that as it may, Patricia said dismissively. My orders stand. All human personnel are to return to base now. She turned to the security officers. Begin loading the equipment. The officers moved toward the medical supplies and building. Materials the humans had brought. As they did, something unexpected happened. Emberfang, now much stronger than when Kira had first brought him to the human colony, flew up and landed between the officers and the supplies. He spread his wings and hissed, small flames flickering between his teeth. The officers stopped, uncertain. Then more young dragons appeared, the recently healed hatchlings, still small, but moving with renewed vigor. They formed a line in front of the humans who had saved them. What is this? Patricia demanded. Get those creatures out of the way. Kira smiled. They're protecting their friends. Dragons never forget those who help them. The officers looked to Patricia for orders. She glared at the young dragons, then at Jack. This is ridiculous. Control your alien pets, Harlow. They're not pets, Jack said. And they're not mine to control. More Draconids began to gather around them. Not with weapons, but simply standing in solidarity with the humans who had helped them. Adults with their children. Elders supported. By the young. A living wall of dragon people. Patricia's face flushed with anger. This is insubordination. You'll all be fired and blacklisted from every mining operation in the system. Sam stepped forward. And fire us. Some things are more important than a job. Dr. Reeves nodded. I didn't become a doctor to turn my back on people who need help. One by one, the other human workers voiced their agreement. They moved to stand. With the Draconids leaving Patricia and her security team isolated, Elder Lysithea turned to Jack. Your leader does not speak for all humans, just as I do not speak for all Draconids. But today, your actions speak clearly of who you truly are. Patricia's communicator beeped. She checked it, and her face changed from anger to confusion. This is impossible, she muttered. What is it? Jack asked. A message from Earth, Patricia said. From the Interspecies Cooperation Council. They've received reports of a first contact situation on Selinus. They're sending representatives immediately. She looked at Jack accusingly. Did you contact them behind my back? Jack was as surprised as she was. No, I don't have that kind of authority or access. Sam raised his hand slightly. Actually, I might have sent a few messages. After we discovered the Draconids were being affected by our mining operations, I felt obligated to report it. The ICC has jurisdiction over first contact scenarios. Patricia's face paled. Do you have any idea what you've done? The company could lose its mining rights entirely. Or, Jack suggested, we could establish a cooperative relationship with the Draconids. Share the resources. Work together instead of taking everything for ourselves. Patricia looked around at the united front of humans and Draconids. For the first time, she seemed uncertain. Elder Lysithea stepped forward again. This storm has caused great destruction, but perhaps it has also cleared away old barriers between our peoples. She looked at Patricia. We have much to discuss, human leader, about the future of Selinus, about how we might live together in peace. Patricia seemed about to argue, then sighed in defeat. It appears I have no choice but to listen. The ICC. Representatives won't arrive for at least 2 weeks. She glared at Jack. You're still relieved of duty, Harlow. Jack smiled. That's fine. I think I've found a new job anyway. He looked at Elder Lysithea. If you'll have me, I'd like to serve as a liaison between our peoples, to help build something new here. The elder studied him for a long moment, then nodded. we would welcome. Such wisdom. Kira watched this exchange with hope filling her heart. Emberfang perched on her shoulder, his warm weight a reminder of how this all began, with a desperate journey across the Ashen Plains, carrying a dying dragon to an uncertain future. Now that future seemed brighter than she could have imagined. 2 weeks passed quickly. The Draconid settlement rose from the ruins, stronger than before. Human engineers worked alongside Draconid builders, combining their knowledge. Stone buildings now had metal supports. Solar panels provided power to places that had never known electricity. In the clan hall, a medical center had been set up where Dr. Reeves trained. Draconid healers. Kira walked through the settlement with Emberfang flying circles above her head. The young dragon had grown remarkably. His wingspan was now as wide as Kira was tall. His copper scales gleamed in the sunlight. He was no longer the sick, dying hatchling she had carried across the Ashen Plains. She found Jack near the new water filtration system. He was showing a group of young Draconids how it worked. They watched with wonder as clean water flowed from the pipes. The representatives from Earth will arrive today, Kira said as the children moved away. Jack nodded. I know. Patricia hasn't stopped talking about it. She's still hoping they'll side with the company. Since the confrontation 2 weeks ago, Patricia Morgan had remained at the settlement under protest. She spent most of her time sending messages to Earth and avoiding contact with the Draconids. Are you worried? Kira asked. Jack shook his head. The Interspecies Cooperation Council has a good record of fair decisions, and they'll see what we've accomplished here. He gestured to the rebuilt settlement. This is just the beginning of what we can do together. A shout went up from the lookout post. A ship was approaching from space. It was smaller than the usual supply shuttles, sleek and silver. It landed in the open area between the Draconid settlement and the temporary human camp. Everyone gathered to watch. Draconids and humans stood side by side. The young dragons perched on rooftops, their curious eyes fixed on the ship. Patricia Morgan stood apart with her security team, her face tense. The ship's door opened. 3 humans emerged. 2 women and 1 man, all wearing the blue and silver uniforms of the Earth Coalition. The woman in front had a calm, thoughtful face and dark hair streaked with gray. Jack stepped forward to greet them. Welcome to Salinas. I'm Jack Harlow, former foreman of the mining colony. The woman nodded. Ambassador Diane Wu, Interspecies Cooperation Council. These are my colleagues, Dr. Peter Grant and legal advisor Sophia Chun. Elder Lysithia approached, leaning on her staff. Her leg was healing well, but she still walked with care. I am Elder Lysithia of the Crestfall clan. Welcome to our home. Ambassador Wu bowed respectfully. Thank you for allowing us to visit. We have much to discuss. Patricia pushed forward. Ambassador, I'm Patricia Morgan, Regional Director for Universal Mining Corporation. I must insist we speak privately about this situation. Ambassador Wu regarded her calmly. Director Morgan, I've read your reports, and many others. But first, I would like to see what has been happening here with my own eyes. For the next few hours, the ambassadors toured the settlement. They saw the rebuilt homes and new facilities. They visited the medical center where healthy young dragons played under the watchful eyes of Dr. Reeves. They examined the water filtration system and the solar power grid. Kira and Emberfang joined them as they walked. The young dragon showed. Off for the visitors, performing aerial tricks and breathing small, controlled flames. The ambassadors watched with delight. He was dying when I first brought him to the humans, Kira explained. Now look at him, and he's not the only one. All our young ones are thriving now. Ambassador Wu nodded thoughtfully. And what about the mining operation? Has it continued during this time? Jack shook his head. Most work stopped after the storm. We've been focused on rebuilding. The company has lost millions in production, Patricia interjected. All because of this unauthorized relief mission. Dr. Grant, a lean man with kind eyes, spoke up. Yet I see you've discovered something potentially more valuable than raw minerals. He pointed to where Sam Carter was working with several draconids. Your engineer explained to me how the dragons can sense mineral deposits more accurately than any of your equipment. It was true. In the past 2 weeks, they had discovered that adult dragons could detect specific minerals by scent. Their ability was far more precise than human technology. Several test expeditions with dragon guides had located rich veins that the mining sensors had missed completely. The tour ended at the clan hall, where tables had been set up for a formal meeting. Humans and draconids sat together. Food from both cultures was served. Even Patricia joined, though she ate little and said less. Ambassador Wu stood to address everyone. What I've seen here today is remarkable. 2 species, previously separated, by fear and misunderstanding, working together for mutual benefit. She turned to Patricia. Director Morgan, I understand your concern for company interests. But the ICC charter is clear. When a sentient species is discovered on a world already under development, all previous agreements must be reassessed. Patricia's face fell. You're revoking our mining rights. No, Ambassador Wu said. We're transforming them. Universal mining. We'll retain operation rights, but under a new arrangement. She looked at Elder Lysithea. The draconids will have equal say in how the moon's resources are developed, and they will receive fair compensation for minerals taken from their lands. Elder Lysithea nodded slowly. This is acceptable if the humans work with respect for our ways. Furthermore, the ambassador continued, we're designating this settlement as a joint species development zone, the first of its kind. You will receive funding and support from Earth to expand your cooperation. Jack looked stunned. You're making our makeshift arrangement official? More than official, Ambassador Wu smiled. You're pioneers. What you've created here could become a model for human-alien relations throughout known space. The gathering erupted in excited conversation. Draconids and humans alike seemed energized by the news. Even Patricia looked thoughtful rather than angry. Later, as the sun set over Salinas, Kira found Jack standing alone on a ridge overlooking both settlements. In the distance, lights twinkled from the mining colony. Closer fires and electric. Lamps illuminated the Draconid village. What are you thinking? Kira asked. Jack smiled. About how one brave act can change everything. You mean when you decided to help us during the storm? No, Jack said softly. I mean when you decided to cross the Ashen Plains with a dying dragon in your arms. When you chose hope over fear. Emberfang swooped down and landed beside them. He was large enough now that his head reached Kira's shoulder. He made a low, rumbling sound in his throat, the beginning of an adult dragon's voice. Look at him, Jack said. 6 weeks ago, he was at death's door. Now he's healthy and strong. Like the bond between our peoples, Kira said. In the village below, humans and draconids moved among the buildings. Children of both species played together in the central square. Dr. Reeves sat with draconid healers, sharing knowledge. Sam worked with dragon guides, planning the next mineral survey. What happens now? Kira asked. We build something new, Jack said, something that's never existed before. Emberfang stretched his wings and launched into the air again, circling above them in the fading light. His scales caught the last rays of the sun, turning him into a living flame against the darkening sky. Kira watched him fly, free and strong. She thought about the desperate journey that had started it all, about how fear could have kept her from seeking help, about how Jack could have turned her away, about how easily things might have gone differently. Instead, Here they stood on the threshold of a new beginning. Two different peoples learning to live together, learning from each other, growing stronger together than they ever could have been. A part dot as night fell over Selenus Moon. Lights shone from two settlements that were slowly becoming one. And high above, a young dragon soared between the stars, his joyful calls echoing across a world forever changed by one desperate act of hope.